Oh, okay. The project is under the Google Drive. Do you have the previously the link to the Google Drive?
Yeah, I give them yeah, going lecture slides. Code. And then download the last one, you download it just how it's still updated. There's a 3 things inside of the last one. You download everything, download.
So have everyone launched the website in Visual Studio? Yes? No? Is it downloading?
Is it downloading? Downloading. Very slow. And there's so many downloads.
So many downloads at the same time. Yeah. Anybody use Git before? Has anyone used Git? Okay.
Git.
Git. Git. Git. No. Okay. Do you have your own thumb drive to save the file and then run from there? Yeah. Okay. Alternatively, if you don't have a thumb drive to save the files, you can use Git to upload your work into repository, and then every time you just, after doing your work, you can push it up to the cloud, and when you need to, you just pull the whole thing down. So it will track every change that you make.
You know, right? I downloaded the last one, they told like everything. So make it faster.
Okay, for Louis and Ragat, what you missed out was lesson 3 slide all the way until slide 40. Yeah, 48 lah. More or less until here, yeah. 52, so you missed out on slide 52. Okay. So what we did was previously creating a website with Bootstrap, and then we started to read through the Bootstrap documentation, pick out the elements that we need according to the wireframe, and then more or less a lot of copy pasting code, but with explanation of what they mean. So what you can do is, if you want to re-practice from that point, you can try on your own. Otherwise, you can just take the zip file and launch from there. Does anyone have questions about what we went through last week while you're unzipping, launching? All downloading, right? Who's still downloading?
Very big, but more than 100 megabytes.
71 meg. Who is still downloading? Who's it allowing? I'm right.
Okay. Music fine. You better like this faster.
Zipping.哦，你在总体操是吗？
是
如果你摁这个的话，就不需要任何配合。如果你没到，他说的美国的，他是讲这个他这个。如果你还没到的话，可以等他。
So just copy one page will do.
The rest don't take. Just copy the zip file.
Free one.
You try take everything 啊。对对，已经有了，所以不用再讲了。不合适的话呢，我们就看什么？你在录就是什么方？上次你做好了吗？
做好了。如果我还在读还没有配出来，
重新开哦，那个可能是到是GLP， 然后呢是 SR，
我不讲这个。
OK， 你的否则只要继续让我的这个继续啊，这样子这个为它的继续这里的或者是对吧？好，说可以过去的这个系不需要，也是可以从直接进去。
大陆这个
对，也是可以稍微这里。Anybody need a contract with copy? 到不是这样。你抄这个这个怎样？然后今天的课法no just okay you can CD space okay myself okay 我一米的那个空的，空有空的话放那个空进去，哎，说不能进去。OK， 继续，可以。So 我这边打check， 然后这刚才这可能就是 prepaid 版。如果你全国的全部都做好做1年的话呢，它应该是陪伴嘛，就是你的那个。1%. I'm living very slow. Yeah, 9%. You're saying 9%. Good for you. At least you have this one thing. You know what you're right? Right? Oh, okay. 刚说话很好啊。You have your own contract? Okay.
I mean, after this we yeah, I mean, yeah, so that next time the contract really feel that we
Hi. Okay. Let me see. If I don't want to waste time. Okay. What version of jQuery you're using? 那边不可以啊。
那你好像没有 response。
没有 respond 啊。Who is still extracting? Unzip finish? Still unzipping? Okay.
32%, 31%.
Hi. Okay. Okay. This one? Visual Studio expired here.
Extra because you can export you stay is use sometimes the space your not try to transfer laptop in but do it really copy should extract from laptop try it 我买一些玩这些copy 它的之前有那些手工CD 然后可以做到我这个把一般衣服的我来 extract 到从当然不同的这些回去所以 How are you? Have a seat here. The laptop.那长多去了，那地铁哦，这小弟同志说你不要给我，我要是哎，那个。Bro, where you park your car? Downstairs. Entrance, how much? Yeah, don't park there. You park MRT, this MRT. Walk actually only cost $1. You know this MRT, the car park, $3 also. I buy there. I every time come here, I'm very clean. ERP, then the line also so expensive. I from Europe, ERP or ERP $2. Okay, that's why you just go to this car park there. Don't park the gantry. The gantry, government so rich. It's every day I die already. One time come here to school, one time. You $10 more than that, right? It's good petrol. This car park. Yes. How much I could put? A lot of places. A lot, always this hour a lot. Actually, 5 minutes. 4 minutes, 3 minutes. Cross the road, election already. Cross this road, library already. I just discount for how long already? 3-4 months already. It's driving every time. Last time is 1 week 3 lessons. Oh. Just discover today. I think last time I found there when I didn't know. Only when you study.
I think I'm going on now 3 weeks now.
Yes, 3 weeks.
Yeah. I was having the reservist and everything.
Oh, reservist.
Yeah. And last week I was like down. Not well.
First thing, copy the zip file, unzip it to your desktop on my computer, then we launch it from there.
Sometimes we park there. This one you want to late, also okay. No Chinese. Still one person. You extract, don't extract the file, right? I need to say already. Yeah. You extract faster than me. Yeah. You should extract from desktop.
This one is faster. I did the same way as you.
You copy this one from where? No, the desktop. Go to your Excel, right? Then save the that's the reason. Just this file. You need an hour like
7 more minutes.
My one and your one using this project. I just wait like one because I can use Ranga. Ranga, you absorb already, right? Can you pass me a USB cable? Plug in, transfer to you.
Brain to brain USB transfer, right?
He's very powerful in the lead, but other thing is quite slow. Programming super strong. Everything also super strong.
Okay, can.
Your phone one already. One need to touch one. I don't buy another one. You want to change? You want this one or you want the same? Which one you like? This one you like? Or that one you like?
Okay, so what should I do now? Should I continue?
3 minutes more. I'm expecting.
Yeah, my recording is on, so I'll just continue.
Cannot have a video conference.
Video version, right?
No, I mean here when we
That was a CCTV.
yeah, when we work got boss.
Cannot see this.
Not allowed. Then we can just play the movie.
Play movie.
Then we'll play the conference. While doing our work, then can access sometimes.
Okay. Okay. So, never mind. I just your thing is still unzipping.
Okay, ready. Up ready.
Okay, up already. Okay, I just go on to the other two boxes. So just as a practice, I'll go through how to create the other two image banners here. Yeah. So you probably need to go and find two other images to fill these two image banners. For those who have missed the last class, you can go to this website called pexels.com. They have free stock image. You don't need to steal images from people's website. You can take from here officially. It's the license is valid for commercial, personal use, anything. So you don't need to pay.
Commercial also can.
So every image you find under Pexels is available for commercial or personal use. It's free of charge, and all are quite high quality stock images like all this. Yeah. So everything here is downloadable for you to use. So each of the images you can choose certain resolutions. They have from the custom size you can specify. Small, which is 640 by 360, medium, large, and really 4K size images. Yeah. So you can choose the images here to download for image banners. So I'm just gonna start off with what happened here. So to do our image banners, basically we're gonna populate the banners under the column MD4. So we have three columns here. Okay. So in the first one that you have done in the project, you can just simply copy and paste this box with image reverse over to the second column. And then here you can change the image. So if you just do your mouse over the image source, it will show you a preview of the image file. So if I want to put something else in, I can go to images, right click here, choose add, and yeah. So we add an existing item. So choose a file from somewhere, you can put it inside. So I'll probably go, if you have pre-downloaded some images, you can go and pick it up from here. Maybe I choose these two images, click add. So what happens if you just do a copy the images into your image folder and include in the project, you can see it's there. So to change the image source, I'll just move the mouse away. So here just highlight this, delete off. So on the stroke key, keystroke, it will actually show you the different images you have. So maybe I put the first one, the theme image, and for the text in the middle, which is your H2. So I can say is get support. Okay, your first one should be an FAQ, right? The last one will be extend your warranty. So now I've done the second one. I click just Ctrl S to save it. On saving, if you look at the console here, you actually says reloading browsers. And if you go to your browser itself, it will show you the updated banner. Yeah, magic, right? Okay, so now very simply do a repeat for the last column. So essentially our wireframe for this is very straightforward. Those are three basically very similar looking boxes, and the only difference are the images. Okay, what's my last box? Extend your warranty. Okay. So the last box is extend warranty, replace the text, save it, and the browsers would be reloading somehow.
One is one line.
One line. Oh. Yours is all one line, is it? Oh, okay. So for yours is the whole page goes like this way downwards, is it? Yeah. Okay. It looks like this, right? Yours? Okay. for you, check that your under the class, make sure that it's set up as row, and each of them is column MD4. Is yours column MD4? If it's 12, it would cascade to the next row. Below the 3 image one, you can visualize that there is another row with 3 more columns. So to get that done, basically we go back to Visual Studio. So to make sure that we are going to create a new row and not overlap with the existing row, we can use the helper this thing to collapse the HTML code and type a new line here. So construct the row with this code, and same thing, because there are 3 columns, we'll do a ND4 and duplicate that 2 more times, so you get 3 columns basically. So now we go back to the wireframe. So wireframe basically shows that in the first box you have basically 4 links, second box you have a address information, third box will have a Google Map embed. So let's tackle the links first. So in the links, how we're gonna do it is we're gonna start wrapping the whole thing with this thing called column box. So column box will be CSS style we will create in the next class when we handle all the CSS. Now we just focus on the structure. So here I'll just create a div with a class called column box, and within the box we'll have the links. So very simply, we're gonna make it as straightforward as possible. So the links will be the about us, contact us, sitemap, terms and conditions. So if you were to type it out, here you can say about us, have a break line, and then followed by a second link. Another break line, and maybe one more is what's that? Sitemap. And finally, the last link will be terms and conditions. Okay, notice just now in the slide I used the NAMP. Okay, so normally on HTML code we can get away with giving an N character in HTML code, but sometimes for some reasons these characters may not render very well on certain browsers. So there's a better way of writing those. So basically you use an ampersand here. So we call it AMP semicolon. So what happens is that special characters like the N, the quotes, asterisks, or caret or percent characters can actually be replaced by this, we call it HTML entities. So this is one of the list of HTML entities. Whenever you type in Visual Studio, we type with a N, which all of them always starts with an N character, you'll see a list of the different HTML entities you can use or symbols. So they will give you a drop down list, so you can actually, if you're not sure which one to use, or you want to find out what code refers to what kind of symbol, like you can have a bullet point, and some of them like a copyright symbol. Okay, you can use that. So the AMP for closing by the semicolon will be representing the N character. So if I save it, I can see, oh, my about us, contact us, and term conditions are here. So because this page is not nicely formatted, look at the corner. So because we haven't put in all the CSS for the classes, so we'll just focus on the structure. So now we have our 4 links in, we can now go on to the next part, which is this box, which is the address information. So most of the time when you go to the website, you see addresses at the bottom. In HTML, you can actually use a special field for addresses. So the same thing, we're going to create a column box again inside this column, MD4. So you notice all the MD4 have this column box, which later on we will create the proper structure for it because we want to have some additional styling. So we have MD4 box, and within that, so there's this HTML element called address. So we just copy this over. Okay, now I'll explain to you what's going on. So in the address tag, is really no different from a div or a span. So the address tag allows Google or any search engine to actually specifically pick out that as your address. So between the two websites that store addresses in either an address tag and a non-address tag, what happens is that Google Places ultimately picks this up and tags a Google Place to this website. So largely, it's easier for them to identify, to automatically create a Google map when people find your website through an address. So that's how we use the address field. Within the address field, we'll have this tag called strong. So strong actually is the same as font weight bold. Let me go back to the site. Yep. So let me zoom in. Okay, so you notice that the address here. So paste parameter is the name of the company, which is actually font bold font. So there are two ways to doing bold font. One is you define use a tag called strong. Another way is simply with the B tag. B tag is short form for bold. You will achieve the same result here. Okay, so then you have your next thing. You have your address, the street, the building, or break line. And for telephone number, there's this special tag, and we're using telephone numbers. So basically, we call the telephone colon as abbreviation, and we set a title to phone. So what happens in context? Google actually will pick this up as sort of like a pre-tag to the phone number. And if you want to do something more interesting, you can actually turn the phone number into a tag, which is a hyperlink. So this has a very interesting effect when I convert the phone number into hyperlink. Let's see. Okay, I think that's a mail too. Let me check on that. So let me go back to Bootstrap. They have some information about using telephone links. Yeah, telephone. Okay, that's one. So if I put telephone colon, right? Okay, and I refresh our website. Okay, so what I did was I converted the phone number to a hyperlink. So hyperlink normally goes to pages. So the two places, pages, which are website addresses. Number two, a mail to. So a mail to will invoke the email thing, and then also telephone. So let me show you the difference between the both. So let me create one more tag, which is for email. Okay, and I wrap it around a telephone tag. Mail to. Right. Okay, so what happened here, the aref has this thing called a mail to. Okay, and in the mail to, it's colon followed by the actual email. So what happens in the mail to tag? Okay, let me actually put next line. Put a break line here. So the mail to basically in the website causes your browser or your computer or your phone to launch your default email program. So when I click on the mail to, normally what happens is that by default most computers will have your email program launched, and then you actually have pre-configure the subject header, some of the body text as well. And for the number, what happens is that if you do click it for the numbers, okay, so in Windows 10, it will ask you to pick an app to open this URL. So if you're browsing this with your phone dialing pad will come out actually, and you automatically have a number there to go press a call. So this is the difference between the mail to and the telephone in the hyperlink reference. Okay, so now we have the two boxes. The last box we're going to put in will be the Google Map embed. So Google Map embeds, how do we need to do this? So basically you need to start by launching Google Maps first. So if we go to Google Maps, maps.google.com.sg. So to share or embed the map, the first step is to launch the map and then look for the address, a key address that you want to share. So in this case, the address you want to share is this street here, and of course maybe the street on the unit. So you can just paste in the street name or the prominent building. So it sends you into Google Map with this virtual street. So you can actually refine, maybe if it's a specific building like National Library, once it's done. So you can do a share. So the share will give you a few options. One will be share the link, which you can send to people, or this way you can do embed map. So click on the embed map tab, you can see a few options. There's a medium, small, medium, large, custom size. So this lets you decide what's the size of the map you want to put in. So in our case, we might be choosing custom size. So we'll probably put as 300 by 300 pixel. Okay, you can click preview to see the actual size, so that in relative to your screen you get a view of it. Okay, so this is the size. So once that's done, there is this code here. So you just need to click on the link, click in the text box, Control C to copy, go to your last column here and paste it. So that's the more straightforward way to embed Google Maps into your website.
Getting other people's website.
So the map's in here because it's an iframe. So what we did is, let's look at the code. So this Google Map that they generate for you is using an iframe HTML. So we remember last time, iframe is used to embed content in your website. So iframe for YouTube videos, iframe for a lot of things. And for Google, they allow you to iframe to their website for the map. And in iframe, basically this map is, because it's iframe, whatever content here is independent of your page. It means the content here is interactive like a mini website at all. So users can actually drag around. They can click on the navigator. They can also click on this to see the actual satellite. And of course, they can click on the link to view larger map, which would open the actual Google Maps website by itself.
But the Google down, you also cannot see. Google update, change content, you also see.
Okay, so of course, because you're iframing to Google, if Google website is down for the day or the moment, this map will not appear. Yeah. So there's good and bad. Of course, one, if you're iframing to Google, you depend on Google whether they're up or not. If they don't want to show this on your website, then you will not show up. The other way that some companies have done is they snap a picture from Google Map and then they embed it as an image, which means that it's not actually clickable. I'll show you an example. So this is a website that has in its contact us page a Google Map embed. Okay, so the problem with the map embed is that if I go to the contact us, okay, so there's a map here, but it's a bit funny. You can't actually click on it. Okay, it's supposed to navigate. So what they did was disable the control, so you can't actually click on this or save or larger map or anything else. So you're just stuck there. So they put something on top to prevent you from clicking into it. Some other places will actually just create an image and then just put the image inside the website. Of course, that is, if you create an image with all these links, then it doesn't make sense. Yep. So now that we've successfully put in links, addresses, and the Google Maps, yeah, so more or less we've completed the first page of the website. So if we try to size it down, just make it smaller, what happens is that everything gets cascaded downwards. You see that the hero banner stays on top. The three boxes will get pushed to the next row, the next row, the next row, until the final row. Yes. Okay, so right, So back to bootstrapping. So what happens when your browser gets smaller, which is this is not likely how your phone will display your website. You have the cascaded elements, so everything is pushed to the row below. For the navigation, what they did was that Bootstrap automatically created this drop-down navigation here. Yep. So that's it for the first page. So the next page we'll make is this product catalog page. Yeah. Second page. Okay, so wireframe for the product catalog looks basically like this. Your navigation is the same. The site, this is the product navigation sidebar, different. You have a banner. You have some filter by price, sort by price and name widget, and this is one product item template. So the way we're gonna do this, the end state is that this page will take data from a JSON file and then template all the product items across. The search item and the filtering will be using this library called Defiant.js. So Defiant.js allows you to do search and query on JSON data. So it kind of create that interactivity whereby you can actually filter the 50 items of whatever items you have by certain attribute like price. You can also sort it. We use some JavaScript functions to do sorting. And then when we sort it, you actually re-render the template here. The templating engine we'll be using will be Handlebars. So Handlebars is a very straightforward front-end templating, JSON, data, HTML. So that's the main idea. Okay. So start off first, of course, in Visual Studio or Studio Code. First thing we need to do is to create a new page. So whatever done in index, we can close it now. So to create a new page, basically we go to right click on app, right, and then click on add. So to be new page there, click HTML page. Then name it as products HTML. So here's a basic one that Visual Studio generates out for you, which is really not so much of what we want. So remember in the wireframe we need to have some common elements, which is the header and probably the footer. So to make links easier, go back to index.html. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're likely going to copy everything from the top here all the way to somewhere here. Okay, so this part, how do we know that's where we end? So that's line 86 for your reference, and it's before the Jumbotron. So copy this whole bunch. So what I did was Control A, select everything, overwrite everything. Okay, don't save yet. Go back to index. After the last row, which is Jumbotron row, the second row element onwards, copy footer all the way to the end tag HTML. Yeah, and then from here, just one line, paste in, save. Now the formatting looks a bit weird. You can always right click and do format. So you can Control A, right click, format selection. Okay. Okay, at this point your computer may scream that it's not responding again. Okay, so while you're doing that, Gulp is constantly tracking, and then they're saying that changes. So it will try to reload the home page, which is not our objective. We'll pass the home page, so let me expand the browser. And so a new page that we created is called products HTML. So at the top here, so type in products HTML after the preview. So you will see, okay, I have my header, I have my footer, and nothing in between, which is just the starting point for this. So now that we got our page up, let's construct column by column first. So of course, we look at this layout, there are two columns, one for navigation, one for the main area. The only question now is sizing. What size are we looking at? Okay. So the column 1 and column 2. So the idea here is that within two columns there will always definitely be a row and followed by two columns. And so we'll go over to HTML. So somewhere between the continuous fluid here, nav and the footer, we will start off with, okay, we'll do a container fluid first. So container fluid, row first, then next class will be a column MD3. So MD3, so the idea now we have in mind is the column on the side would be 1/4, and then the one in the main area will be 3/4. So the 1/4 area will be MD3, while the one with 3/4, you need to sum up to 9, go to 12, so we put MD9. So it's 3 plus 9, 12. That's because we're using the 12 column grid system. Okay. So once you got that, so you got two areas here. So refresh, the page refresh. Of course, you don't see anything yet because you need to create the left side navigation and then the right side area. Okay. So now we'll work on this area here. So there's a sidebar navigation. Sidebar navigation would essentially, okay, so based on the wireframe, just zoom in here. So wireframe shows them as, so the idea here is food preparation is like a top category. Then within food preparation, you have blender, food juicer, food processor, juicer. Cooking is a second category. You have fryer, induction, griller, fast cooking ovens. So this is the second level, that's the first level. And so the certain styles, like maybe the first level has a highlight, a background color, blue color, and stuff like that. So we had to choose one of the bootstrap components to make it easy. So the bootstrap component will be part of this thing called navigation pills, stacked navigation pills. So if you go to bootstrap website, take a look at the stacked navigation pills. Okay, so we go to components. So look at this item called navs. So navs basically is a short for navigation. So in navigation, they have a few choices you can use for your interface. So this, first of all, is a tab navigation. Okay. Second with pills. So pills is like tabs. I said it doesn't have the page below to join with the header. And of course, you have stacked. So the one we're going to use will be this thing called stacked pills. So the CSS and class that we use basically they'll define the way it comes out will be basically this class called nav pills and nav stack. Nav pills will create, by what it means pills is to create this effect of the active item having the border a border box around it. And when you say stack, it causes the elements to actually stack on top of each other. So add the MD3, which is the left side column. You can just copy the code over. But take note, if you copy my slides, the double quotes tend to get converted into something else, so you probably want to correct that along the way. Yeah, so okay, when you copy over from Word, Microsoft, sometimes the characters, because in Word and Microsoft, the way they use this, yeah, so this double quote, when you notice is slanted, right? You cannot see it. Okay, so this double quote is slanted, one side. So this is an enclosing quote. You have the normally on the other side is a slanted inward. Okay, so if you type in Microsoft Word and Excel or PowerPoint, normally with the double quote keyboard, it becomes like this. So there's a difference between the opening and the closing. If you were to type the same thing in coding here, okay, whether is it the front or the back, they all look the same. It's a straight two line down. This character subtle difference is different from the one in Microsoft where they type this out. Yeah. So if you were to copy wholesale this thing over, right? Copy this over here. So actually what happens so the actual version is the one with the opening down. It's like a double quote, open and closing quote.
I got one method actually. You just copy the one row, click at the edit, find and replace.
Yeah.
You replace everything.
Yeah, replace everything. Yes. Yeah. So you can do that also. It's alright.
One wrong one.
One wrong one, right? Yeah.
And the view.
Yeah, so the wrong one you need to replace the new one, the correct one now. Okay, so once you put that in, save the file, you have your pure navigation here. So Bootstrap default gives you the certain style. So what happens is that, first of all, when you mouse over, the pure navigation has a highlight effect, and if you set the class to active, the select item will have the blue box around it. So that's the default style. Here you can see that from the code we actually have different sizing. This one is bigger, this is smaller, so this is like the first level. Sub items are smaller. That is because, okay, for the bigger item we actually set a H3 header tree around it, so to make it bigger. That's one way. Another way is that we actually nest another unordered list within this list item. Okay, so there are a few ways to do this, but for now we just simplify as that. Oops. Okay, so now we have our main left area. So now start doing the hero banner. So hero banner here will be very similar to the homepage jumbotron, because it's meant to be some kind of marketing area for them to use. So you can take from the slide where we had the div class jumbotron image background inverse, similar code as the previous, and paste it into the top of the column MD9. Okay, so here probably for your image, because it's not there anyway, you will have to go and download the image and add it into the images folder. So let's look for cooking. Oh, this one looks nice. Oh, this one. Okay. So if I just grab medium-sized file here, download. Okay. Go back to Visual Studio, images, add existing item. Browse to my downloads folder. Okay, you can see what is it. Yeah, this one. Maybe I change the name also. Okay, so we got in here. Now change the background image. So because this is Visual Studio, it can intelligently fish out the image for you. Okay, so once that is done, I can go save. So this is how it looks roughly. Okay, so we got our jumbotron. Next thing will be to create this interactive widgets. So the interactive widget that we have, there are two widgets. One is a, let me zoom in. So one is a filter by price. Okay. The next one is sort by price. So we have a filter and a sorting. So I'm sure we've gone through Lazada or most of the sites, they have this kind of widgets that allow you to do something like that. Oh, wait, not yet. I'm sure yet.
No, the module
science.
and just the name and signature. Okay. Then I'll pass it to Francis.
Okay. Okay, so back to the coding. So we're going to insert the widgets which is below the jumbotron somewhere around here. So the idea is that below there we set basically a row, and the row has split two different columns. So one side of the column will have the filter widget and the other side will have the sort widget. Okay, so here we're going to create, so this is the row. There's essentially three columns that were separated. So we gave it 1/4 space for the filter widget, which is here, then followed by a spacing of a column of three column spacing, and then the last 6 column spacing for the sort widget. Same thing with this. Yeah, so. And of course, yeah. So now the space is allocated, you don't see it yet. And there'll be a few new components we'll be adding later. So for the widget space, we'll leave it first because it's going to be JavaScript driven. We'll go straight away to the product template area. So for product template area, right after the row here, we will set up the template area, which is a full child column layout. And within there, we will start create the individual product template. Case. Based on Bootstrap. Okay, the last one you mean. So Bootstrap is a frame, it's like a template, it's like a CSS, HTML, JavaScript boilerplate that allows you to set up a website relatively quickly. So they provided a list of components and styles that you can start to use. So the idea behind Bootstrap is that they give you a certain kind of layout to follow. The layout system is based on this thing called grid system. So if you go to Bootstrap website, you go to CSS link, and she explain to you this grid system, which is based on the idea is that any page width can be divided into child columns. So you use that to decide you want a 2/3, 1/3 site layout, how much part of the page to use for certain things. Because most websites nowadays come in very standard 1/3 site, 2/3 space. So there's a certain kind of guideline that's been done. So you don't need to actually think about how much percentage of the site should I leave for the navigation, how much percentage of the site should I leave for main content. So that's like a rough guideline to follow. So that's why they have a column system here. So for the column system here in the middle, in the next row, is where we're going to have the individual product template. So the product template box, the idea of it would be, so this thing called a box. So there will be a few elements. Within the box, there will be the image, which is the product image itself. So what we're doing here is that we're actually doing something a little bit different. Sometimes images don't come in standard sizes. Some images can be tall or short. So what we're doing here is that we're using the actual product image as a background image, but we use an image source that is transparent to ensure that it's proportionally resized all the time. Okay. Let's put some space here. So I just make some note that this is a product. Wait, template. So some explanation here. So this image here, class, is meant to be a background image. So you can see the background image, I specify where it's coming from. But actual image will be in front, where I set the image responsive. So what happens is that when the page resizes, this image spacer, which is actually transparent, will resize proportionally. Then therefore, whatever image behind, can it be portrait landscape, doesn't get distorted in a sense. So of course, in our wireframe, we also have in the image the product name and also pricing. So within this product box, we can actually create another row and column and split 3/4 of it dedicating to the product name and the other part to the price. So if I were to save this and try to preview it, okay, goes be off. Oh, okay. Sorry. This one gonna be outside. Okay. So now, for now, what we have is, so this individual product item is spread full. That's because its parent item, width is 12 columns, and within the product box, which is this product box class, I haven't set a certain style, a certain width yet, so I haven't actually styled it. So at this point in time, we probably want to try to get to this, how it looks like this, but I need to do some CSS styling and probably download an image just to test it out. Okay. So I'm gonna steal something from Philip's shop for now. Okay, so for the sake of having a product image there that shows up, I'm gonna pick out something from this. Maybe an air fryer. Who has an air fryer home? Who has an air fryer?
I buy before.
Buy before? Huh?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Fun strike, the taste, still the oil one tastes better. No taste.
No taste. Okay.
What's not, how do you explain it?
The price.
All the what is it, party stuff, drink will really dry.
Yeah.
All the party stuff dry.
The taste is
Dry also.
Dry, right?
Yeah, juicy.
Oh, not juicy.
Yeah.
Nothing
For example, chicken, if you put
chicken.
chicken is the useless one.
dry fried, not good.
Nothing compares to let's say oil cooked, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's true. Okay.
But healthy, yeah.
Yeah, that's healthier, of course. Okay. Let me pull out some files I have ready.
This one.
Oh, I got 6 right. Okay. Alright, so we got a bit more work on this one. Okay. So I put an image, but it repeats itself. Okay. So what happens when you have an image background? So this is. So whenever you use an image background CSS or there's inline style to say image background, the image by default will repeat. So in order to stop that thing from repeating, okay, we need to create a different particular style here. So I'm gonna add here, it will be. So I add the idea here is I'll add a style sheet. So this is the style sheet that we're using is a SAS. So it'll be styles dot. Okay. And inside our main CSS, which is the one that's pulling in all, which is the one that's included in the file. Here, I'll do a import styles. So what happens in import statement actually gets the style sheet to include another style sheet together. So the idea is we don't need to have one single style sheet with too many styles inside. Of course, the proper way to do this in a bigger project is you split the styles according to different components or different pages. So depending on your organization. For this case, okay, so I already pre-set up some styles already in there. Okay, product styles. Let me go back to my file here. Okay, Okay, this is something which I already pre-wrote so that make convenient to use it. Let me take away the styles here. Okay. Yep. Okay. So in my product says CSS style, I actually set the grid to be a certain dimension. So the box actually is a certain style and dimension. So if I do want to do an inspect element, choose the product box. So there's you can see from here, it's set to float on the left. That means it's always stacked on the left side, and the max width of 320 pixel. Height is a fixed height of 515. For the image itself, the actual background image is inside here, but the one that causes it to at least not distort is the one in front, which is the image 400 pixel by 400 pixel. Okay, so I have also here the text that is set to one side and the price on one side. Okay. So after the price, what I want to include will probably be like small description of what the product does. So create another row and column inside. So go back to products. So where I'll put this will be right after this row here. So what happens here, there's a row, column full width, and here I put a model number followed by a list of some maybe 2 or 3 points, not too much, about the product. You can see it down here. So like most product templates, you have the name, pricing, and some other small information about it. And of course, let's say I'm creating a catalog, I must at least maybe let the user find out how they can actually download or access this, find out where to buy this product from. So after this row, I create another row with intention to have a button to go to then click on where to buy. So it should probably lead them to something like a store locator with a map. Yeah, and they can actually click on it and so tell them, oh, here's the nearest store based on Google Maps, and then they can actually go there and get it. So this would effectively be one product template by itself. So the very least minimum styling right now, we can actually duplicate this. So to give you an effect of what happens when duplicate is simply, I go back to code. So if I were to copy the whole thing and just make a few copies of it. So you stack next to each other like that. So if you have, let's say, a JSON data or a data source, you can actually set that as a template and just repeat itself across. Yeah, so each one, depending on the picture, the name, the pricing, all will be different. So this is like a templating system. Okay, so to do the templating will be in the next class. Next class we do JavaScript. So we use use the handlebars. You can do dynamic templating. The data can be JSON, can be from a web service or anywhere. So as long as it comes in a JSON format, then it should be over. Fish tank. Okay, still not the end yet. Okay, so we are almost done for this page. So okay. Online service. What we get to choose? Okay. Fish tank. Okay. Focus. Okay, our wireframe looks like this. So we did the left hand side, this area, we did this area, we set out the area for this, which will populate with the JavaScript template here. And then there's one last item. Okay, you all saw this? So there's a numbering here. So normally if you come across a big site that has many products, they can't possibly show you everything on one page, because either the page will take too long to load, or you will too many images to download as well. So in order to optimize your viewing experience, which is most of the time we use either pagination, or some places they call infinite scroll. So to do a simple one, we just do pagination. So this pagination control has individual number represents one page. So if you're first time landing, it will always be page 1. So you can click to the page to skip to the next page. The arrows will mean to do a next page, next and previous. So that's one very simple way of doing pagination. In Bootstrap, luckily, there is a pagination component. So I'm gonna copy from them. So under components, if I click on components, I can look at the list here. There's this thing called pagination. Okay, so you can click on pagination and see what it looks like. So this is the default. Previous, next, individual page numbers. So they also have different variation. Like, okay, if you want the page to be active, that means it's select they are currently at page 1, you have this effect. You can also control sizing. Yeah. You can also have the next and previous as text rather than the arrow, and you can do alignment like that. So for this one, we'll use the most simple version of the paging. You can literally lift the code here and just paste it somewhere below. Okay, question will be where. Okay, so let me size down. Okay, so here's a row where our product template would be generated. So we need to create a new row here, just so a bit more well organized. And after every row in Bootstrap, normally you need to have the column 12. But we'll add one more simple attribute. We want the pagination to be in the center, so then this class called text center. Okay, once it's text center, you paste the code in, save it, and yep, you have the paging control in the center here. And that's it. You have your final page. So this is your page here. Any question so far on this? No. Okay.
When our project start with you?
Anytime now.
It's starting already for the training.
Anytime you can start already. Yeah.
Huh?
You can start anytime.
But this one class is until another 2 months, right?
Yes. You still have 6 to 8 more lessons.
8 more lessons.
So you can submit basically at the 11, the last lesson.
But the thing is not very nice. 从下流行为这样。
Oh, not very nice as in the aesthetic design, yeah, because I'm not marking aesthetics. I'm seeing how you all use the different components together. And of course the basic you follow through this is good for the project submission. So as long as everything works, like you click on the page, it link, it works. You click on things, you tell me it's supposed to go there, it goes there, it works, it's okay. But you want to put your more creativity, it's not in terms of aesthetic, but more like components. You want to use certain effects. Maybe you want, instead of this like that, right, you can make it expand and minimize. Or certain extra things that you want to add in. So those will go into more as a bonus marks for just pushing it beyond the standard. Okay. So are you all still game for last page?
Please, you complete already our project. Finish already. It's very fast one only.
Chris very fast.
Yeah, before two weeks, complete everything already.
Oh, okay. So the next page we'll be making is a form page. Form page we'll do, okay, we can do it next lesson. That's the last HTML page to work on. Then sure we go to CSS already.
But if you can complete some, then you don't have to attempt 2 weeks for some. Yeah. Ranga can, I know.
Ranga can.
Because he's a programming, he like programming.
Okay. Okay, so you all should save your own files, right, in your own thumb drive and hard disk. So I'll tell you what you should save so that you don't waste time copying too many things over. Because next week you come back, I don't know whether someone will go and delete the file there on the computer, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Your project folder in Visual Studio. Okay, I'll tell you what is the holiest part of the whole project. Okay. If your computer hasn't died yet, okay, you go and click on the show hide all files. So there's only one folder and a few files that you need that matter to the whole setup. Okay, first folder is app folder. Your source code is here. Okay, whatever we did, images, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, this all is the most important part. Okay. So if you want to back up your work now, let's say you do this extra, you want to back up, make sure next class you come back, you can continue. Copy this app folder over to your thumb drive or external drive. The next few files that are important is Bower JSON, gulp, and package JSON.
I see. JSON. No,
Yeah.
this all file is very big, right?
No, actually this file is very small. This three files very small. These three files very small. The biggest.
Those programmer, they use one to create a lot. Use this file.
Which one?
Like
JSON. Okay, if your JSON is containing data, yes, it's big. It may be very big, depending. But for the project setup, okay, Bower JSON is the one that tracks what are the client scripts you need in your project website, like jQuery, Bootstrap. Okay, package JSON would be the one that says, okay, you need gulp, you need here Babel, browser sync, whatever, the task runners. So there are two different library files that you need. So what you need to back up is basically these few files here. These four are the most important ones. The rest, okay, what happens with the rest, right, is that the rest can either be downloaded to the net every time you start it up, or normally what we do is that that's why I say it's better to have your own computer to do, because all the other files take more time to download. Yeah, no. So Bower component and node module. So Bower component, this folder, comes from Bower JSON. So Bower JSON is like a directory. It says, okay, I need to open version. So Bower JSON says I need Bootstrap, I need Modernizer. Okay, so these two libraries the system will download into this thing called Bower components. So if I expand Bower components, you can see there's Bootstrap says, there's jQuery also, Modernizer. So all the client side libraries are all here. So Bower JSON is like a directory. It just says I need this one version, I need this one version.
Just copy the directory.
You can copy okay, between Bower component and node modules, right? Bower component is much smaller. Why your project is so big, 71 megabyte max, is because a lot of files come from node modules. Node modules is installed through package.json file. So you see all the different libraries here. Okay, so when you run the npm install, you look at package.json and then start downloading all the client libraries you need for development. They don't actually appear inside your website or as JavaScript. This is the one that has the most directories, the most files. So if you try to copy node modules from your computer to a hard drive, you'll take almost forever, because there's just almost 10 or 1,000 of files inside. And you can look at this 130 meg right now. So it doesn't make sense to copy this file to and fro every time. Okay. But the issue is, some of the computers here you use, next week you come, it may be deleted, right? Okay. So I don't have a real solution for this, except that every time you come in, you download, it doesn't make sense. But you keep a copy of this on your own laptop. You can use your own laptop to do the work.
So can I see
the navigation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This one, right? Oh, this one on top.
I'm going to see
the code for the navigation on top, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's under. So index and product have the same thing. So navigation is under this item from navbar, nav default. So this part of code from the navbar all the way down to the closing is the top navigation.
inside the body.
So inside the body, yeah. So it's inside container fluid here. So within the navbar, there is a container fluid class to control its width. So it's dynamic according to parent. And the navbar header here. So this navbar header here, with the icon bar, okay, that is basically what happened. That part. So the navbar header here is this thing. So there's one part you will.
The photo in.
Yeah. So smaller. So this one, right, this button here is this button here. Yeah. This whole navbar from the opening to closing here basically is this title paste, the branding, and then this button here. So this is this part here. So this part only appears when the browser is smaller, especially on mobile. When it's full width or larger, it will hide. Okay, so where does this come from? This one comes from the other part here, all the way to the end. So the paste still appears. This navbar brand will always consistently appear whether it's mobile or desktop. But the button, this button here with the class navbar toggle will only appear in mobile mode. So it's smaller. The rest part here, this navbar collapse. So this one has a navbar, additional navbar structure. So there's the first one is called link. Second part is called drop down. So within a drop down, basically, if I go to the side, so drop down is actually a products drop down. This area with all these items appear under here. So link, products, drop down. The next part, the search widget. Search widget here is considered as a navbar item. I said navbar left, so navbar left forces it to float to the left side. So within here, there's this thing called input group. So input group, basically I have a text box and a button glued together. So Bootstrap gives you this style called input group to glue the two together, so they look like the single widget. So there's an input type text here, search for. Placeholder defines what text will appear inside there when the mouse is away, when there's nothing, then followed by the button. So the button is a default button with a goal. It's wrapped under an element called group button. So when using this input group, it's always paired with one of this input group button. So the input group button and that creates this kind of effect, the text box and the button. So they look like that together in one piece. The remaining portion here, register, purchase, and login, is basically the remainder of the cell. So this is the next navbar, and there's a navbar right. So right always push to the right side. So push to the right side, you have register, purchase, and login. So that will be this one here.
So you don't have the column.
Yeah, for the navigation bar, we don't split by the columns. Like the default, is it?
The place, this one here, the search here.
Oh, okay. So placement right now, what we are controlling placement via the whether it's a float to align to the left side or align to the right side. So in terms of the arrangement, right, the layout. So the layout, we don't use the column grid system. You can still use a grid system for the navigation. Technically you can. So what happens if you use a grid system, you can space everything out like evenly across. For example, you have 10 items. You can space 10 items in the middle, leave one grid, one column here for spacing. Then the rest in the middle can always set to align center, so it's all center. So that's one way also of making navigation. Yeah, so CSS, you either create a custom class to force it to according to your own layout, or can use Bootstrap to do the direct CSS. Okay, like this case. Okay, so in this case, I have the navigation. If I go to the first part, this part, navbar. So navbar has two items, link and products. By default, the item in the boxes, the item inside the box is always centered, and the width is always depending on the content. Okay, so if I add more items, let's say we add another link here. So I do a copy. See, can I paste it? No, I'll do it here then. So I create a link, copy this one after here, paste it. This one. It's on the index page. So the link appears, but it always depend on the content width, how much text you have, so adjust. The padding or the spacing between the links, so it's well predefined in Bootstrap, how much spacing. If you want to modify the space, you can either create a new class, tag a new class inside, or override the existing class and adjust the spacing. So let's say I want to create all the narration with fixed width. So what happens is that I can do, let's say I want a method of overriding. So I'll look at each of them first and see, okay, each of them is li. So based on this class here, li here. So there's a nav says which is from Bootstrap. So the nav says default has li here. And let's say I want to override this class, I just need to copy this. Go over to my styles. Let's say I choose main. Okay. So at the end of main, I can copy this class over and override the width. Let's say minimum width is always 0 pixel. Okay. So when I do that, yep, notice something different. The link has gotten bigger because I set minimum width is 100 pixel. So this is one example, but there can be a lot of other things you can do to just manipulate the style, positioning, alignments. Yep. Okay, any other questions?